So does anyone have any idea about the optimization? What do you think actually is an optimization problem is? What is optimization? What do you think about the optimization? What do you think is an optimization problem? So I can say that optimization problem is nothing but it consists of maximizing and minimizing. So the optimization problem, I can say it will be consisting of maximizing or minimizing the objective function. So it's nothing but maximizing or minimizing the objective function by choosing some values. Okay, by choosing some values and we will be computing this by choosing some values. We will be computing this particular function. So this way of optimizing a function in a maximum way or minimizing that particular function is nothing but called as optimization problem. Okay, so in this optimization we have different components of optimization problem. So what are the different components here? First is objective function. Next is decision variables. And third is constraints. So in the objective function, obviously you will be having the minimization problem only. You will never consider the maximum value. You will always choose to optimize a particular problem in a minimized way. Okay, that's why you will be considering in the objective function, which is called in which you will be having minimization problem. Decision variable. So this objective function, I can call it as f of x. Okay, just a minute, guys. Here there is a disturbance. I'll just. So where was I? I was explaining about this, right? So we have in the objective function, you will be having f of x. This x is nothing but your decision variables. Okay, this x is called decision variables, and here the variables, whatever you will be assuming, you will be considering them as continuous. Okay, what's the meaning of the variables are continuous? Suppose I have considered some range here between -2 to +2. So this range is called as continuous. Okay, so whenever your variables x are taking these values, you will be calling that particular range as continuous. Okay, and constraints. Constraint is nothing but some x belongs to some particular set. So this is some constraint. Constraint is nothing but some condition. Okay. So whenever any constraint is not mentioned, then you will be calling that particular constraint as, and please close the door, no? Close the door. So whenever you don't have this particular constraint, you will be saying it has unconstrained problem. Okay. So basically, what are the three components of this one? One is objective function, other is decision variable, last one is constraint. Is this clear till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So after this, so let's go to the, so what are different types of problems? Okay. And remember one thing, in the objective function, we always try to minimize our problem. Okay, we'll not try to maximize. That's our main motto of minimizing the problem. Okay. So what are the different types of optimization problems? Different types of optimization problems. So in this different types, we have one is obviously linear optimization problem, linear programming problem, you can call it as. Next is uh, non-linear. Under non-linear programming problem, you will be having convex or non-convex. Okay. After this, you will be having another problem. Another different type is integer programming problem. I'll just explain what are this one by one. So on the integer programming problem, you have another type, that is binary integer programming problem. And here you will be having, after the integer, there is another type, that is mixed integer programming problem. So these are your 4 types. And for integer programming problem, you will be having both types, that is linear and non-linear. And here also you will be having, in the mixed integer programming problem also, you have linear and non-linear. Okay, these are your types. So here, first let's see what is a linear programming problem. So when can I say that my optimization problem is linear programming problem? Okay. So what are different types of different components of optimization problem? One is objective function. Other is decision variables. And next is constraint, right? This is what we have seen in the components of optimization. So whenever the decision variables are continuous, we always assume that these are continuous. Okay. Whenever decision variables are continuous, an objective function and constraints are linear, you will be saying this particular optimization problem as linear programming problem. Okay. That is the condition. For any optimization problem to be a linear programming problem, you need to have decision variables which are continuous. Next is, you need to have objective function and the constraints which are linear. Okay, that is one of the conditions. Now, what is non-linear? So can you guess what can be the condition for non-linear programming problem? Anyone? What can be the condition for non-linear programming problem? What do you think? There will be no change in the decision variables. Okay, one thing you have to remember is decision variables will be continuous only. So I'll represent decision variables as dv. Decision variables are continuous. Either of this one, objective functions or constraints can be non-linear. Okay? Either of objective function or constraint. Either of this one can be non-linear. If any of this is non-linear and this one decision variables are continuous, you can call that particular problem as non-linear programming problem. Okay, till here is it clear? So what is linear programming problem and what is non-linear programming problem? Any doubts? So one thing, if you remember these 3 components of the optimization problem, whatever I discussed earlier, depending upon these conditions only, depending upon these 3 components only, the types of the optimization problems have been divided. Okay. So first I've told a linear problem. So there is one question, if you see in the week 4 assignment, I'll show you that. So in the week 4 assignment, you have one question here. See, when the optimization problem is classified, when is an optimization problem classified as linear programming problem? So what did I say? So when a particular optimization problem can be linear programming problem, when the objective function is linear and constraints are linear and decision variables are continuous. So these three options. Decision variables will not be discrete. Okay, that's how the questions may be asked. Okay. So that is about the linear programming problem. And when you can say a particular problem is non-linear, when the decision variables are continuous and the objective function and either of this objective function or the constraints are non-linear, you can call non-linear programming problem. Okay. So third type is, so under this you have convex and non-convex. We'll see that later. What is convex and non-convex? Next is integer linear programming problem. So here, as the name specifies, integer linear programming problem, already you know what are the different conditions for a programming problem to be linear, right? Now, what is this integer? So if I'm taking a function f of x1, f of x1 comma x2, then x1 will be belonging to one set 0, 1, 2, 3, and x2 will be belonging to another set, that is the same set 0, 1, 2, 3. So here I can say that these are not continuous. The decision variables are not continuous. They are integers. So this problem we can call it as integer linear programming problem. So decision variables are integers, and next objective function and constraints are linear. Is it clear? So what is now integer non-linear? Non-linear programming problem. So can you guess what can be integer non-linear programming problem? Anyone? What do you think? What is the integer non-linear programming problem? Whatever the decision variables, will they change or will they remain the same? What is the non-linear here? When can you say a particular programming problem is non-linear? Guys, can you reply? Just now I told what is non-linear, right? So what did I say here? Objective function and constraints are linear. Then you will be saying the linear programming problem. And here decision variables are not continuous. They are integer. They are taking integer values. That's why it will be integer linear programming problem. So here I'm saying integer non-linear programming problem. What is the meaning of non-linear? Functions which are discrete. Okay. Yeah, they're not. They will not be. They will not be continuous. That is true, Vandana. And what about this one? Non-linear. So when can I say a problem is non-linear? When either of objective function or the constraint is non-linear, then I can say a problem is non-linear. Why it will be integer? Because x1 is belonging to this one, 0, 1, 2, 3, and x2 is also belonging to this one. Okay, that is your integer linear programming problem and integer non-linear programming problem. So I told that there is another type of integer programming problem, that is binary integer linear programming. So here binary integer. So what will be the decision variables values? As the name specified, binary integer. So as the name specified, binary integer, obviously it should have the values of 0 and 1, right? Yes, very good, Vandana. So there will be so f of x1 comma x2, if I take this set, x1 will be belonging to 0 and 1, and x2 will also belong to 0 and 1. So obviously at that time, if objective function and constraints are linear, then I can call this as binary integer linear programming problem. Or else, if either of this objective function and constraint is non-linear, I can call it as non-linear problem. Okay, binary integer. So now let's come to the last type of this one, that is mixed integer linear programming problem. Mixed integer linear programming problem. Now what is this mixed integer linear programming? So if I'm taking this function, objective function, two decision variables, x1 can belong to some set 0, 1, 2, 3, that is it will be belonging to the integer values. Next, x2 can be continuous. Okay, x2 can be continuous. So this particular way in which one decision variable is belonging to one set, another decision variable is continuous, then you will be saying that type as mixed integer. And here they are saying linear programming model. So objective function and the decision, sorry, and the constraints are linear. So similarly, mixed integer non-linear programming model is programming problem is objective function and constraints. Either of this objective function constraints will be non-linear, but decision variables will be having the values. One is some integer type, other is continuous. These are the different types of this one. Optimization problems. Is it clear till here? Do you have any doubts? So my suggestion is, once I have done this, go through the recording once, and then you can go to quickly have a quick recap of whatever they have discussed in the videos. Okay, then it will be easy for you to understand. Hi. So these are the different types. So next, now in the non-linear programming, so in the non-linear programming, you have one case, that is univariate optimization. Univariate optimization. That is, there is only one variable, one decision variable. That's the meaning of this. Okay. So how can I calculate? I told you that there will be some objective function, and this objective function needs to be minimum. Okay. For some x, this objective function f of x needs to be minimum, and x here belongs to real numbers, and x is continuous. Okay, because this is non-linear, they didn't take any condition like it is of integer type or mixed integer. They just told it is of non-linear programming problem. So univariant, as the name suggested, univariant, there is only one variable, that is x. X is called the decision variable here, and f of x is called objective function. Okay, so here, so suppose here I am taking, I will just give this description. Here I have some figure. This is f star, and this is x star. I can take it as this is x, and this is f of x. Okay, so whenever I draw a perpendicular line, here you can see the graph is getting decreased to here. This is the minimum point. This particular point is called as local minimum. And here there is only one point, right? After this point, the graph is increasing. It's not decreasing. It is decreasing to some particular minimum point, and after the minimum point, the graph is increasing. Okay, so this particular point is called as minimizer, there is only one point, so that is called as local and global minimum. Okay. So whenever you have only one optimal solution, then that particular function is called convex function. Okay. There will be only one solution existed for this one. Then that particular thing you will be calling it as convex problem. Okay. Suppose I have a curve here. So I have something like this. I'm increasing it. Here it decreased. Again it increased. And after that decreased again here and then increased, something like this. Okay, so this is my first, this point is called local minimum, and after the local minimum it got increased and later it decreased again, and here this point is minimum, this particular point is minimum compared to the local minimum. So whenever there exists one point which is minimum than the local minimum, other the first minimum value, then you will be calling that as global minimum. Okay, here as you see there are two solutions, right? So this particular problem is called non-convex problem. So for the non-convex problem, you will be having more than one optimal solution. Okay, that is what you have to remember. Is it clear till here? So how many convex and non-convex will come under non-linear programming problems only. So whenever you have one solution, that particular solution is called convex. So whenever for the non-convex problems, you will be having more than one optimal solution. Okay. Is it clear? So now what are the different conditions? Necessary condition for x star to be minimizer of f of x. Okay, there are two conditions here. One is first order condition, next is second order condition. Okay, so the function what we are going to consider, f of x, is nothing but our objective function. So how can you say this f of x is minimum is nothing but we will be calculating first derivative of f of x and we will be assigning it to 0. So whenever f derivative of x equals to 0, then we will be calling it as this particular function f of x as the minimum function. Okay, the second order condition for f of x to be minimum is f double dash, this is second derivative of x equals to 0. Okay, now let's take this problem, take a problem here, not equal to 0, here it should be double derivative should be greater than 0. This is the condition. Okay, now there is something called as stationary point also. If they have given a function f of x and they ask you to calculate the stationary point for this function, how can you calculate? For univariate optimization, stationary point, how can you calculate is you need to do f dash of x equals to 0. Then once you got that particular function, once you calculated the first derivative and assign it to 0, you need to calculate that. So let's do one example here so that it will be clear for you to understand. We'll take the assignment problem only. So here they're asking you to calculate, see, for a function, which of the following values is a stationary point? So we'll just take this question. Just take this question. So now I need to calculate this one. So f of x equals to x power 4 x cube, okay, 40x square and minus 60. Now what they're asking me to calculate the stationary point. So how can you calculate the stationary points? First I need to calculate the derivative, first derivative of this one, that is df by dx equals to 0 I need to do. So do you know the derivatives? How can you calculate the derivative for this function? So I will be writing 5 into 4 x cube. Remember, the derivative of some x power n will be n into x power n minus 1. This is the meaning of dou f by dou x, right? This is your formula for deriving. So here it is x power 4, so it will be 4 into x cube minus 3 into 3 x square x square. So I am writing 30 into 3 into x square plus 40 into 2 power x minus 1. N is here 2, 40 into 2 x, that's it, equals to 0. So this will be 20x cube minus 90x square plus 80x equals to 0. So I'll just see, can I take anything common? So I can just take common here is this one.
X and 10, if you 10x, if you can take common, it'll become a quantity.
That's what, so that's what 10x will take. So it will be 2x square minus 9x plus 8x equals to 0. So here from this we will be having one solution where x equals to 0. So later we'll be having 2x square. Now we need to solve this one. 2x square minus 9x plus, sorry, here it will be 8, not 8x. So plus 8 equals to 0. So there is any chance for me to, there is no solution for this, right? There are no factors for 8. Can we get 9? No. So this is in the form of ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0. So what's the root of this? So how can I find the roots? I can find like this, minus b plus or minus square root of plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac by 2a. This is my formula, right? So after this I'll be getting, so here I'll just write what is a here. A is 2. Comparing this equation with this one, a is 2, b is minus 9 and c is 8. Okay. So here I'll be having, so here I will be now having 9 plus or minus 81 minus 4 into 2 into 8 by 2 into 2. So I will be having 9 plus or minus 145 by 4. Okay. This whole thing, if you calculate, it will be 81. Sorry, here something missed. Minus 4ac, right? 4ac.
17 kada, ma'am?
Oh, sorry.
Minus, right? 81 minus 64, right?
81 minus 64, that's what I'm also saying. Yeah. No, actually, here some mistake happened. B is minus 9, A is 2, and C is 8. Okay. So now let's calculate this one. So it will be 81 minus 64, which will be 17. 17, right? So 9 plus or minus 17. So you can use a calculator and you can find the values. Okay. If you calculate the values, you will be getting this as, I think we already have a calculator given scientific calculator. We'll try with that. Oh, somewhere I have written this as something wrong. Wrong format, yeah. From here we can take this scientific calculator and there we'll calculate that. So here what are values? Our values are 9 plus or minus 17, right? So first let's calculate 9 plus 17 square root. That will give me this. Okay, square root of this by divided by 2 into divided by 2 into 2, that is 4. So this value is 3.28. Okay, you got one value of x as 3.28. Okay, one is x equals to 0, x equals to 3.8. Next is 9 minus root of 17 by 4. One value we got it, the plus value is 3.28. Now we need to calculate this value now. So we are going to calculate as 9 minus 17 square root equals to divided by 4. That will give me 1.21. Okay, 1.219. So another x value is 1.219. So now let's check the options. What are the options provided here? So the stationary points are nothing but 3.28 and 0. That's it. We don't have 1.21 here. Now as you see, they're asking for this function. We need to say which particular stationary points are qualified to be minimizers of f of x. Okay. So how can you calculate? So what did I say here? For a function to be minimized, there should be two conditions. One is f dash of x equals to 0, that is first derivative of x equals to 0. Next is the second derivative, that f double dash of x should be greater than 0. So now we need to calculate this one. Now we got these values. Now what is our f dash of x? Our f dash of x was 20x cube minus 90x square plus 80x. This is our first derivative, right? So now I need to calculate the second derivative of this, because I need first let me do the second derivative. So what will be the second derivative for this? So it will be 80x square, sorry, 60x square, 60x square minus 180x plus 80. Okay. Now what are stationary points? Our stationary points are 0, 3.8 and 1.219. Okay. So here I need to calculate f double dash of x for each and every value. First I am just calculating for f double dash of x at x equals to 0. So that will give me 60 into 0, 180 into 0 plus 80. Okay. So the value will be 80. So now we got x equals to 0 greater than 0. Okay. So this is one of the valid conditions. So later I'm going to calculate f double dash of x equals to 3.28. Okay. So now here I'm going to substitute 60 into 3.28 whole square minus 180 into 3.28 plus 80. Let's see what will the value of this be. Where is my calculator? Here. Yeah. So here let's clear. So it is 60 into 3.28 whole square, that is 645.504, and next is we need to do minus 180, right? Minus 180 brackets 3.28. Okay, I will do this one thing. I'll just into 180 plus 80 plus 80. So I got a value of 135. So it will be positive value only, but I just want to show you how to use the scientific term. So 135.104. Okay, this is also greater than 0. Now the leftover point is f double dash of x at x equals to 1.21. 1.21 whole square minus 180 into 1.2 plus 80. Let's calculate this one and see. 60 into 1.21 whole square. Okay, so minus 180 into that minus 1.21 into 180 will give me minus 129.9954 plus 80. So it will be some negative number, right? This minus 49.954. This is less than 0. So this particular stationary point will never be the minimized function. So we'll completely rule out this particular statement. Function. Okay, this value will can never be the minimization value because f double dash of x is less than 0. But we need to check for the condition where our f double dash of x is greater than 0 and f derivative, this first derivative of x should be equal to 0. Then you can say that it is nothing but the minimization function. So for 0 and 3.28 values, the stationary point values, the function is also minimized, right? So we can consider these as minimizers. So the solution for this will be, this question will be 0 and 3.28. This is how you need to solve. So whenever they ask you this, okay. Now for a function f of x equals to 3x power 4 minus 4x cube minus 12x square plus 45, which of the following are stationary points and minimizers? So here what you need to do? You need to calculate the stationary points and also you need to find the minimizers of f of x. So now because of this example, can you be able to do that problem? Will you be able to do that problem now because of this example? Guys, is that clear? Okay. So this is how you have to work on the problems. So let's go to the sum of the questions present there. So here they are saying the maximization of a function f of x bar is equals to dash of the function minus f of x bar. So maximization and minimization can never be equal as they have given minus f of x. So maximization will be equal to the negative of the f of x bar. That is minimization of this one, minimization of the function. Then you can say that maximization equal to the negative of this one. And next is this question we will see. We are choosing the correct option. Here they are saying not all linear programs or linear programming problems are convex. In a non-convex, non-linear programming problem, there can be more than one optimal solution. This is true. We have seen in a non-convex, non-linear programming problem, there can be more than one optimal solution. This we can't say. Okay, not all the linear programming problems are convex. There is no surety about this. That's why it will only second is true. So this one I already discussed. An optimization problem with no constraints is called unconstrained problem. So which of the following function is the quantity that is maximized or minimized? obviously it will be objective function only, right? We can only minimize the functions. That's about week 4, guys. And there is something called as, still we have 15 minutes, so I'll just discuss the other topic also. Only last topic is left over in week 4. The steepest descent topic, this one. So here if you see, our aim is to find, basically our aim is to reach the end of the, see here the person is at the Mount Everest. Now his aim is to go to the the below point, the lower point. So one way is just trying to go in some one direction to the lowest point. Either he can do, one thing is he can just go to the topmost. So sometimes we want to climb the mountain for better prospects to get down, right? He can go to the farthest point, highest point, and then come down fastly so that he can reach the lowest point. Okay. So here if you see, as I told, this is the first, as you see, this is the first local minimum. Okay, this is the maximum point first, that's why this will be global maximum. After this global maximum, there is another maximum point, this is local maximum. But I told you that the first minimum will be considered as after decreasing the point. See, here the graph is getting decreased, right? Here it is minimum. So this will be local minimum. After this local minimum, there is another minimum here. So this is global minimum. Okay, the second minimum point will be global minimum. Let's take you to that. So this particular point is called global minimum. There may be a chance that you might be having the local minimum after the global minimum also, but that's not in every case. Okay. So now what's the meaning of the steepest descent is nothing but he can just go to the steepest point. Okay. That's the meaning of that. So here what they are taking, here this is an iterative approach. Suppose I am at the location x bar k. Let's draw it here. So this is my graph here. Now I am at the initialization point x bar k and I want to go to x power k plus 1. Okay. Now the distance in which direction I need to go, that is called x bar k, s power k. This is s is nothing but search direction. In which direction I need to go is nothing but search direction. And this, how much length I need to go, that is alpha power k. Okay. So how can I write the value of this one? How can I calculate the value? What will be the distance for this one is x power k plus 1 equals to x power k plus alpha power k into s power k. Okay. Now let's see what is this. X power k is initial point from where the user is starting to travel, and s power k is search direction, on which direction he wants to go. And this is nothing but step length. How much distance you need to travel? Step length. Okay. This will be already given. This value will be calculating. Using these two values, you need to calculate this one. So this alpha, you can call it as some scalar quantity. Scalar quantity alpha. How can you assign this alpha is nothing but using some univariate optimization techniques. Okay. So you will see how you will find out this alpha is that you will try to minimize this function. So whenever I want to calculate f of x power k plus 1, I need to get alpha in such a way that f of x for k plus 1 equals to f of alpha, where, and this is equals to minimization function. Okay, it should be minimum. That is how you will need to calculate this value. Okay. Now what is this s power k? S power k is nothing but there is something called as negative gradient. Okay, this is negative gradient of f of k. So why we need to take the negative gradient is nothing but, suppose I am adding some value of alpha to this one, right? So if I'm adding, obviously the function what I'm going to do, optimize, it will become maximum. But my motto is to minimize this function, right? So how can I minimize this function? I need to subtract some value from this value, right? Then only I can minimize this function. That's why s power k will be negative of the negative gradient. That is what you have to remember. Gradient, I will explain you how can you calculate it. Okay. So now let's go to this one. So this is what I have explained. X bar k is the starting point. This is step length, search direction. And you can divide the multivariant. So here as you see, you have two variables here, right? That's why you're calling as multivariant optimization. And this can be divided into two types. One is direction computation. Step length computation is univariant optimization. That is what I explained. So in ML techniques, this is called learning road, and we have different techniques also. Neural networks, we can use this technique in Bragg propagation algorithm. Okay, in chain rule also you can try. Means however, how we are going to calculate the equations, in that way you can do it. Okay. So let's go to this one. So this is what they're explaining here. Minimize function f of x1 comma x2 comma this one to x1 equals to f of x at steepest descent, an iteration k, starting point x bar k, search direction. What we are doing, search direction, what did I say? It will be negative gradient of this thing, f of x bar k. Why it will be negative gradient is this getting added to this one x bar k. You need to, it should be minimum, right? Whenever you are adding it, if this particular s bar k will be a positive value, I cannot say that whatever problem I am doing, it will be maximized. Sorry, it will be minimized. It will be maximized because I am adding that value to this one. So to make it minimum, this s bar k needs to be negative. Okay. So here they're saying new point x bar k plus 1 equals to x bar k plus alpha power k into s power k. Well, alpha power k is the value of alpha, for which f of x bar k plus 1 equals to f of alpha is a minimum. Okay, you will be finding a alpha power k alpha value in such a way that these two functions will be equal and it will be minimum value. Okay, that's how you will be calculating it. That is what I explain here. Now, what is this gradient function? How can you do it? I'll just explain you. You can always calculate the gradient as this one. Dou f by dou x1, dou f by dou x2, dou x by dou x3, and so on. Okay. Suppose I have, let's take an example of some example. Next one. I will explain this example if time permits. Let's see. So here, let's write this expression. 4 x1 whole square plus 3x1 x2 plus 2.5 x2 whole square minus 5.5 x1 minus 4 x2. Now let's suppose that here they are considering the x naught as 2. Okay, x naught as 2. Let's see these values. X naught is here 2. Now alpha they have considered some value. In real, actually you need to calculate the alpha value. Okay. This is what we need to find. Now we need to find the f dash of x. Okay. So how can I calculate the gradient of this one? Let's suppose f dash of x equals to, it will be dou f. How many variables you have? You have two variables here, x1 and x2. So I will be writing dou f by dou x1, dou f by dou x2. Okay. Now let's calculate this one. So what do I need to do? Which is our function? This is my function. I need to differentiate, I need to find the derivative of this function with respect to dou x1. So what will be this value if I'm trying to find the derivative, differentiate according to this one, x1? So it will be 8x1 plus, here you have x1 and x2, so it will be 3x2. Here you don't have x1, so it will be 0. And next it will be 5.5. Okay. This is your dou f by dou x2. Okay. So next I need to write dou f by dou x2. What will be the x2 value? Here it will be 3x1 plus 2.5 into 2, that is 5, 5x2 minus 4. So in this way you have calculated f dash of x. Is this clear? So now what do we need to do? We need to calculate. So I'm just explaining the steepest descent method, how we can do it. X naught equals to x naught plus alpha into s power this one, s power 0, right? That is what we have seen. X power k plus 1 equals to x power k plus alpha power k into s power k, right? So here, what is this s naught? I told you that it will be a negative gradient of f of x, right? So here it should be x naught minus alpha into this one, f dash of x, f dash of x. Okay. So what is x naught? X naught is already 2, 2. Okay, minus alpha is given as this one, 0.135. Now in f dash of x, I need to substitute these values. Which values? X naught values here. So it will be x1. So here x naught equals to, x naught is 2 and 2, right? So this is 2 and so this will be equals to x1 and x2. So here in the x1 place you will be getting 2, in x2 place also you will be having 2. That's what I'm writing here. 3 into 2 plus 5 into 2 minus 4. So you'll be getting some value. I will show you this in video. So here if you see, we got this value 2 minus 0.135. 8 into x0. Why they have considered 0 is x naught, right? x0, we need to substitute 1, x1 here, and we need to substitute x2 here. That is our function. That's why they are writing like this. So because of this, we got some values here, minus 0.2275, 0.3800. So how they are calculating this f of x1? They are substituting x1 as minus 0.2275 in x1 place, and in x2 place they are substituting 0.3800. Like that, this value will be there. Okay, in that way only they have calculated this also. They have substituted x1 2 and x2 2, and they got f of x naught. Okay, so as you see here, the value got changed, right? From 19 it got minimized to 0.0399. So now you need to consider this one. For a next iteration, this will be your minimum value. That is, this x1 needs to be considered. So let's go to the next part. That is what is explained here in total. So here in the step 2, what they are doing? They are writing x1 minus alpha, f dash of x1, the same thing. Now this recent x1 value is considered and they are doing this one value. So wherever x1 is present, minus 0.2275 substituted. Wherever x2 is present, 0.3800 is substituted. Now we got another minimum value compared to 0. Now this particular function needs to be considered x2. This initial value will be considered for the next iteration. So you will be going on doing till you get a minimum value, and gradient value will be gradient. Whenever the gradient becomes 0, then you can say that particular solution is the optimal. So in this way you can use steepest descent method. Is it clear, guys? And I will mention you one thing. So here if you see, for each week they have given a frequently asked question, and there is a solution for assignment also. So check the assignment solution part and also the frequently asked questions. Okay, some what all points are not covered in the videos, some of the points are covered in here, frequently asked question. They didn't cover anything about the stationary points in the videos, but they have covered in frequently asked questions. From there, I got what is called as stationary point. Okay, guys. So just go through this video, which what we have discussed now, and then go through the videos of that.